Hello and welcome. Chances are if you're clicking on this video, it's because you want to find out if this is an actual viable side hustle. Or maybe you're looking to get out of your 9 to 5 into something that you can enjoy more and spend more time outdoors instead of stuck in a chair. And I'm going to show you how viable it is to make your first $10,000. Maybe you don't have a lot of room and you're concerned about an actual big nursery like I have here. So let's address that first. What I have here is two very popular nursery-sized containers. This is a trade gallon, which is about 3/4 of a gallon by volume. And this is a trade 2, which is 1.72 gallons by volume. But to keep the math simple, we're going to talk about the trade 1, and we'll address this later. Now, before I continue, I don't want to get stuck too much on math because depending on your geographical location, prices may vary. And just to clarify that a little bit, something's going to cost different in, say, rural Kentucky than it does in Chicago, Illinois. Prices across the country vary. So I'm going to stick with very simple numbers here, and we're just stick with the theory here and not actual price point. Now, I have 4 plants here that have some things in common. They're not all the same plant, but the potential is what we're going to talk about. When I planned my nursery, I wanted to plan to offer things that people bought in bunches. I also wanted plants that I can propagate from, keeping my overhead very, very low to almost nothing. Screening trees like the green giant arborvitae is a very good example. They're fast growing. They're easy to propagate from. You just take the cuttings and stick them in a medium, which I'll have other videos on propagation. But you can take one of these trees and shred it into little pieces, and you can probably get 10 or 12 cuttings just off this one tree. And now, if I bought this for, say, $2 from a wholesaler, now I have 10 plants instead of 1. You see where I'm going with this. The reason I love screening trees for my nursery is because people don't ever just buy 1 or 2. They buy them 10, 20, 30 at a time. I just sold 30 to one guy last week, and it was just a drop in the hat. Now, one of the reasons people will choose to buy them smaller like this instead of, like, you go to your big box store and you'll see an arborvitae that's 5 or 6 foot tall, because people want it to look like it's been growing there for a long time. But the problem is those trees are usually very root bound. They also have to dig a larger hole for that. So a $10 tree like this, they can buy 30 of them, $300. You can even give them a discount if they buy in quantity. You're well on your way to making your first 1,000. This is another arborvitae, a yellow ribbon, and just to show you a little bit of an example of how you can offer kind of the same type of plants with the different aesthetics, you know what I'm saying? But these are both $10 plants. Here I just have a limelight hydrangea, and it's not looking the greatest. We're getting into fall. Plants are starting to show a little wear and tear, but that's okay. Now, I could take cuttings off this to propagate more. I could just grow it out for another season. But again, going from the $10 price point, if somebody buys 30, 40 arborvitaes and buys 5 or 10 of these, you can see how the math adds up. And again, this is a plant that's pretty easy to propagate from, allowing you to make more plants instead of buying them in. Now, hostas are another great option because some people are hosta freaks. They absolutely love them. And there are so many different varieties and sizes and colors to choose from. But this is just and the thing about hostas is they're pretty prolific. As long as you don't put them in full sun, they will grow and grow, and you can split these up every single year to make more plants. There are neighborhoods around me where I've seen people have made entire hosta gardens. This is a blue mouse here. Let me get a little closer to the camera. It's just a little bitty fella, and people absolutely adore these. But you can see how if you just have a very small backyard, it doesn't take a very large investment to get going on your first $10,000. Once you have your plants, you can do things like sidewalk sales, post in Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor, Instagram, whatever social media works best for you, but you can post for free. And as you get going, you can actually then move into paid advertisements. The more comfortable you become with customers, you end up becoming their plant guy or their plant girl. They're going to come to you when they want something. And that gives you the opportunity to establish a relationship and start asking questions. What are they looking for? You know, maybe there's a hot new trend that you're just not aware of, and it'll give you the opportunity to buy some plants in of things that you may not have thought about on your own. And you don't have to have set hours, signs, things of that nature. This is something that you can do in your spare time on the side when it's convenient for you. Maybe you don't want to deal with people on the weekends because you like your weekends. Well, when you set up your little Facebook marketplace post, you just agree to meet people in the afternoons when you're off work. Now, obviously, the more flexible you are, the easier it is to attract customers, but you get the point. Now, for us, I chose some pretty standard foundational plants to start in our nursery. We have edibles like pecans and peach, persimmon and fig. We have berries. I have several kinds of different raspberries and blueberries because I wanted to offer some variety and I have the space. Another great idea is to specialize. Maybe you have a green thumb and you're already great at gardening and you want to get into some specialty plants, household plants. The possibilities are endless. You can take the time to educate yourself on things like what brings in pollinators, what cleans the soil, what's best for different options, and that's something that you can acquire over time. And as you grow, maybe acquire some more space, you can offer flowering shrubs and perennials, and those are things just to kind of expand on what you can offer your customers. So now they're buying their screening trees from you, they're coming for their fruit trees, they're coming for their flowering perennials, and it's not hard to sell that 1,000 plants that you're looking just to make your first $10,000. Now, I said I would get back to the tray 2 gallons. When you move your arborvitaes, obviously, into a larger container because you've taken the time to grow it out, now you can charge more, like move it up to $15. Again, we're not focusing on the numbers here so much because of demographics, but showing you that you have more time invested in that plant, you can sell it for more money. This here peach tree required a bigger container. It cost me more to bring it in. I've got these priced at like $35. It doesn't, now people aren't usually buying, 10 or 20 of these at a time, but they do buy 3, 4, and 5. Here's a shot of this dahlia. It is probably the most unique one that I grow. Doesn't have a whole lot to do with this video, but I just wanted to share her because she's beautiful. Now, why dahlias don't have a whole lot to do with this video, it is an example of there is an expensive flower to buy, and you can learn to propagate these and sell them yourself. Now, I'm trying to get out of the wind here. The wind, of course, because I brought the camera out, has kicked up. I think we might have some storms rolling in. They weren't predicted today, but that's weather in Northwest Indiana. If you're looking into this, I hope I've kind of answered some questions and showed you that this is a very viable thing that you can make money on. There are so many clickbaity titles that tell you you can become a millionaire by doing very little work, and that's just not reality. At least not that I've seen in my 50 years. I better wrap this up because the skies are looking a little wild. They weren't calling for storms, but it looks like it's going to rock and roll here. So I hope that I've actually answered some questions and let you know and shown you how viable it is to make this a great side hustle. With so much clickbait out there showing you how you can have a side hustle making you a millionaire and you don't have to work, that I showed you this is a real viable solution to make a little extra money on the side. If you don't have a lot of room, you can still do this. Move to maybe small household plants. There's just a ton of options. Set yourself up for success. Put your first bar at $1,000. Put your next bar at $5,000 and then $10,000, and you can see how easy it is to actually make money propagating and selling plants. Thanks for sticking with me. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you're into this kind of content. And until next time, keep growing strong.